we're gonna have icon. I have a video here I'm gonna share, and then I'm gonna bring Ricky Dodds on for a Q&A session at the end.
Dodds, and I lead strategy and communication efforts for the Icon project. I'm excited to walk you through the latest developments within the Icon ecosystem. Before we hop into the slides, I'll just give a quick, brief introduction of myself. So I joined Icon in 2018. Prior to joining Icon, I worked in traditional finance, mainly covering financial institutions from one on the project. I'll dive straight into updates, use case, and community. And after that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So with that, let's hop in. I like to start presentations with this slide because it really encapsulates what the Icon project is all about. At a high level, Icon is an interoperability project with goals to allow transfer of value and information across different communities. I like to think of Icon Network as a bridge between private and public chains, but also as a base layer platform and community in its own right. ICX governs the network. It also powers smart contracts and other transactions. It is used for collateral and other use cases. There's a lot going on this page with enterprise on the right-hand side, public blockchains on the left. But after I walk you through the deck, you have a better sense of what Icon is all about. Before we get there, I want to briefly mention the two main entities focused on expanding the Icon ecosystem. One is the Icon Foundation, which is a Swiss nonprofit formed to support the development of Icon. And the other is Icon Loop, which is Icon Project's technology and ecosystem expansion partner. This is a for-profit enterprise blockchain and software development firm contracted to help build the Icon ecosystem. The next slide walks through the histories of these entities. I won't spend too much time here. The takeaway is that Icon Project was started in 2017. It was born out of the experience we had in the enterprise blockchain going back as early as 2015. We saw the need for interoperability as the traditional technology stacks have been built in silos, and the exchange of information was always painful. We really shaped the project around some of the shortfalls in our experience working with those enterprise companies. And here's where we sit today. Icon is one of the largest projects globally, the largest project in the career. We continue to see strong growth in community adoption, and over the next few slides, I think you'll have a better sense of what Icon is all about. So this will be the format of the presentation. I'll walk through the technology, talk about really use case, and then lastly, I'll touch on community. First, let's talk about technology. So Icon is a base layer technology similar to Ethereum. It runs on Loop Chain, the core blockchain engine also powering many networks across Korea, designed by our ecosystem partner Icon Loop. It's been recognized as a standard blockchain platform by Seoul Metropolitan Government. It's been implemented by leading corporations in Korea, such as Kyoba Life Insurance, Samsung, and Sarman. Outside of Korea, Line, which is Japan's leading messaging app, is using Loop Chain for developing blockchain services. Another key highlight of our technology is our consensus algorithm, LFT2. So LFT2 is a derivative of PBFT that allows for fast finality and throughput by reducing the number of phases to commit a block from 3 to 2. So simplifying the proposed commit phases to 2 phases. This was recently audited by a leading research university in Korea, and they noted an improvement versus prior PBFT-based mechanisms, while also guaranteeing safety and liveness. This is the first novel consensus algorithm coming out of Korea, so we're really proud of the team behind it. Last but not least is BTP, which stands for Blockchain Transmission Protocol. This is the piece of technology that really defines what our project is all about. We believe that in order to really capture blockchain's full potential, we need distinct protocols that have compatible ways to interact and communicate with each other. With BTP, we have that ability. We recently released a POC last week where we focused on private to public interchain, but the architecture expands beyond that. So our partner Icon Loop has a DID product called MyID that will run on a private network at the start. As you know, private networks are closed networks, so only those parties inside the network can use the info. So right now, that's about 60 parties in the MyID consortium. With BTP, MyID could broaden its usability. So by using smart contracts and a relay mechanism on private and public chains, MyID can be used across any company in Korea interested in a digital identity or authentication solution. use cases for the MyID team. So I just introduced MyID, but I want to go over how important MyID is to our ecosystem. So MyID is a digital identity product developed by Icon Loop. It was selected for the FSC regulatory sandbox to provide a blockchain-based digital identity approved for financial services. Think highest level KYC, AML grade digital identity, and think of the FSC as basically an SEC equivalent for Korea. So as I mentioned before, it's currently being built on a private network using Loopchain, and its consortium members include some of the biggest companies in Korea. MyID is set to launch this month. Like many, we believe the digital identity will be a key area of focus in the coming years. We believe it can serve as a bridge for offline and digital economies, and you can unlock a lot of potential with cross-chain interoperability. Additionally, you can add some simple resistance to a network and some compliance. The next slide just shows some of the different parties in the consortium. One interesting item to note is we're seeing a lot of interest from exchanges recently. In the past 2 months, both Bithumb and Binance Korea have joined, and we're exploring more additions. We have some of the other leading companies across financial services, tech, and industrials in the consortium, so it's fairly well balanced. MyID isn't the only product we're really excited about. Proof, which is a digital certificate service, and VisitMe, which is a visitor access management service, also run on Icon, and both are seeing great traction. I'll give a couple of examples. Proof was recently used to issue digital diplomas for post-tech university. So due to COVID, there was no graduation ceremony, and instead 828 graduates received an email letter with a QR code linked to their blockchain-stored diploma. It was very well received by both students, our graduates, and post-tech university. We're seeing more interest in this product. And VisitMe is being used at 2 of the largest office buildings in Seoul. Its contactless solution to visitor access management is in high demand given COVID worries. We're seeing a lot of interest in onboarding new clients for this service, particularly in the startup office scene. So as you can see, we have a number of positive tailwinds for the product's adoption. But that was just the core team activity. We haven't really touched on community or broader ecosystem or any other great things that are happening. So let's take a step back. So we're back at the slide where we opened the presentation with, and I hope this diagram makes a little bit more sense now that you've heard about our interchain technology, our ecosystem partner Icon Loop, and then some of the enterprise relationships we have. However, there are a few items on this slide that we really haven't covered, so the next couple slides will spend focus there. So a recap, Icon launched its DPoS design in September of last year, and since then growth has really taken off as our incentive system seeks to reward those who contribute most to the network. The network is governed by 125 representatives, voted in by who block producers on the network. So since September, we've seen wallets with balances increase threefold, and the social engagement and activity has increased substantially. We consistently rank highly in engagement alongside some of the top projects in the space. I'd argue we have one of the most passionate communities throughout the entire public blockchain space. ICX was one of the top performing assets in Q1. I think partly driving that is the relatively attractive staking reward, including one of the higher real yields across the space. So think of real yield as your staking yield net of the inflation rate of the entire network. Currently, we have 125 public representatives in our network from over 35 different countries, which are helping to expand our reach outside of Korea. These are all organic groups, so it's really great to see. We're seeing a lot of activity not only on the community side, but also on the development, infrastructure, and even teams helping in the design of Icon Loop products. Here are a few examples we've seen since September. One is a non-custodial mobile and desktop wallet for staking and governance. Another is a DeFi project called Balance, which blends a mix of synthetics, maker, and compound all in one. Icon already powers one of the more active DApp ecosystems by user base behind Tron, Yeet, and EOS. We're seeing a lot of interest and activity to expand beyond this, which is really great. So lastly, I'll just highlight a new program designed to further the growth of our ecosystem called the CPS, or Contribution Proposal System. So we see this funding many items, including core development, infrastructure, new applications, and even marketing. So with this, later this year, a portion of block rewards will be set aside to create a decentralized funding pool managed by public representatives. You can find out more information about the mechanics of this fund in our forum, but in short, it will act as a decentralized grant proposal system where the community can request funding for their respective projects, and these will be either approved or denied based on on-chain votes, and then the funds distributed by a smart contract. So previously, most of the funding and grant decision-making processes have come from the foundation. However, this design opens it up to the community and representatives and aligns more with the ethos of our project. So I walked you through the technology, some of the partners and products and services using our technology, and more importantly, the community around the project. It's been really amazing to see the progression since I joined in 2018. And a lot of pieces are starting to fall into place, particularly over the past several months. And with that, I'll turn it over to you guys for any questions you may have. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
Thanks for coming. Thanks for the video. Good high level overview. Ran a good clip. That was great. So yeah, I will. And we have some time for Q&A. And so first one I came to mind. I was watching. So you talked a little bit about the various use cases and the DApp ecosystem. What particular type of dApps are you starting to see? Is it more on like the enterprise side, or is it like more general use case?
So I think it's a bit. First off, can you hear me? All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got you.
All right. So I think it's a bit of both. I think we are seeing quite a bit of interest on the enterprise front. I highlighted a couple applications that are using our public chain, Visit Me, Broof, and then MyID. But I think on the public side and sort of the crypto native dApps, we're also seeing a lot of interest in the sectors that are working on Ethereum, for example. So crypto collateralized assets, fiat-backed stablecoins running on our network, gaming, NFTs, those sorts of things. So we're seeing quite a bit of activity, both on the enterprise front and on our community side.
Actually, I heard you mention like fiat-backed stablecoins. Yeah, do you have a couple projects like that? Because I know it's growing, in popularity on Ethereum, and other chains are trying to get on board. So yeah, just curious what the situation looks like on Icon.
So we do have a couple in the works. They're yet to be announced formally, but yes, we do have a couple fiat-backed options that will be on board in the next couple months.
And I don't have to go into detail, but mainly USD, or is it kind of various?
We're trying to sort of spread the wealth a little bit around different geographies. So I think first iteration will be USDT, or USD rather, and then we're also looking at a pound and a handful of other currencies as well to onboard shortly thereafter.
Excellent. And was that kind of driven by just general user sentiment, or people building on the platform, they wanted a stable form of currency?
I think that, and we have a couple other use cases where we're trying to really minimize the blockchain aspect of this use case, and having a way to interact with an application or a platform to to basically eliminate the blockchain aspect of the sort of backend. We need this sort of stable currency where we can basically tokenize a dollar, use that dollar on the back end to take care of some efficiencies, and then convert that tokenized dollar back to fiat when necessary. So we have a couple applications like that where we're trying to eliminate sort of the blockchain clunkiness. So we think that a stable coin makes the most sense for those sorts of applications.
Yeah, that makes sense. And right on topic, we have a question in the chat. Any plans for like a basket of currency plans backing a single stable coin? So yeah, kind of along what Libra was trying to do at the beginning.
Yeah, so we thought about that, and we also thought about like a basket of stablecoins, so basically like a
Mhm.
derivative of stablecoins. But we never really took it to like the next level. We think,
Mhm.
for simplicity's sake, sort
Yeah,
of where the state of the market is currently, I think this is sort of the path we're going to take for now.
excellent. All right, yeah, moving on. I had a question with the on kind of location of kind of where you're starting to see adoption. I know based in Korea, are you starting to see a lot more adoption out in the out in Asia, or are you start? Is there some pickup in the U.S. or more Western countries?
So I think, just generally speaking, our top market is Korea. I would say our second market is probably the US, and then our
Mhm.
third market is probably Western Europe. So I think those are probably the key areas where we're sort of focused. We have sort of broadened community in those particular areas. Like I sit in the US office alongside six other people. We have a much bigger team in Korea, and then we have our public representatives spread across 35 different countries. So we have a lot of channels to sort of spread the word and spread the technology
Mhm.
and onboard, particular entities or developers. So there's a lot of sort of green space to tackle.
Excellent. Are you close to like the blockchain scene over in Korea? And what is and if so, like what's it like over there? And compared to the U.S.
So I would say, generally speaking, so like governments are probably in the same boat. So I think just in general, the Korean government is very supportive of like blockchain technology, its potential applications across a number of different sectors. But I still think that they are a little bit worried about cryptocurrencies. So probably
Mhm.
not too dissimilar from the US and China. But I would say from a consumer side, the education of the Korean community is just at a much higher level across a number of different age groups. So not only sort of the millennial crowd or the Gen
Mhm.
X, you see, parents, grandparents are sort of exploring Bitcoin and sort of other cryptocurrencies. So I think the adoption curve is a little bit further along, but I would say from like a regulatory standpoint, it's still more or less in line with the U.S. and China and others.
Interesting. And even and going beyond, like obviously owning crypto is one part of the use case, but going into actually using blockchain based applications, kind of similar sentiment.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I think Korea wants to be sort of on the bleeding edge of this technology, and I think that they see China as sort of going all in, so they're going to be either a fast follower or try to take the lead there. So with that, I think you're going to see like more and more use cases and potential applications come online within the coming 6 to 12 months.
A quick question here. I kind of similar, maybe already answered, but there might be some more to it. Is there a difference in what technology or aspects that people in Western Europe and the U.S. versus Korea are interested in?
It's a good question. I do think, just in general, the Korean market, they like to speculate. So, if you take a look at some of the derivatives that retail can get a hold of in Korea, it's quite
Hmm.
astounding, like how much risk they like to take. So, I think, products with a lot of leverage are attractive to the Korean market. I
Hmm.
wouldn't say that that's uncommon in the US, but I think it's probably amplified a bit in Korea.
Got it. Oh no, that's interesting. That's wow. So I guess what next one up is so moving on. What would you consider like what most excites you that's really kind of like coming up in the roadmap pipeline? Um, yeah, what are you looking forward to seeing actually come about within the next year that you can talk about?
So I think actually seeing MyID gain some traction and adoption, I think that's
Hmm.
probably the most exciting piece for the ecosystem as a whole. Sort of outside of that, I think making sort of core improvements to our own technology. Um, we got to clean up like some technical debt that are sort of compounded over uh, a number of years that we want to make sure that we can add more people to our ecosystem who could be core contributors. I mentioned on one of the slides that we have sort of 2 entities that sort of maintain the code base, but we want to broaden that out to a number of different entities this year. So we're sort of working through that progress as well. So I would say MyID on sort of the business side, and then we have sort of broadening core development and on our project medium term as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Ricky. I kind of got the full spectrum, what's going on with Icon, and then what the scene's like on the Eastern on in Korea versus the US. So thanks for the time. Where can people stay in touch, and how can they learn more or stay up to date with Icon going forward?
So I would say we're pretty active on Twitter. I would say we also have a very a good Telegram channel with good conversations, not only Moon Boys. We have a governance channel as well that people are pretty knowledgeable about, different protocols and sort of the things going on ecosystem wide. So if you're interested in Icon, feel free to jump in our Telegram, tag me if you have any questions, and we'll be happy to pass along the info.
Excellent. Thanks, Ricky. Really appreciate it.